What if this whole game is just one huge trial again?
Well, we already know that it's not the case. Because this is the third case.
Oh yeah, that's right. No, this isn't like
You thought I finished the first game and was starting on the second game?
Mm-hmm.
Wow! No, I wouldn't keep going without you. What on earth happened in there? Mr. Naruto, I've managed to find out what... Well, okay, so let me be honest, though. That's kind of what the third game is. Like, it's got 2 filler cases, but every case is, other than those 2, is related to, like, one trial. There are 3 separate trials, but they're all basically
They're
the
all
same
linked
case.
together,
Yeah, they're
yeah.
all linked together. And that's, like, as close as you're probably gonna get. I think the first game does the same thing, where 3 of the cases are linked together, and it only has 4 cases total, so, yeah. Oh, but then you also have the investigation games. I guess. I don't know. It's not like what you say, though.
No, it's okay.
Miss Susato, I was told it was an advanced form of smoke grenade, a type of exploding device that releases smoke. You know, us here in the Far East, we've never heard of such a device before.
Even though we were the people that mostly created it.
A smoke grenade? It sounds like the sort of thing ninjas use. Well, actually, I think more samurai, but anyway, they're just making sure everything is safe now. I think the trial will start again before long. But who would have done something like that? Perhaps a child? The police managed to catch someone who was trying to flee the courtroom, apparently. Flee the courtroom? Why? Well, it's a young girl of around 15, I hear. A young girl? Then could it be the other passenger that Mr. McGilda was just talking about? And if they hadn't thrown the smoke bomb, we would never have found out who it was. That's awfully convenient.
He's probably looking at him.
Yeah. So he wasn't lying. Oh, what's become of Mr. McGilded, actually? There's so many things I need to ask him about, but he's not here. I think he was summoned to the prosecutor's antechamber to answer questions. Along with the young girl. Who is she, I wonder? What was she even doing here at the trial? She was taking a huge risk, and for what possible benefit to herself? There's another matter that's troubling me. Aye. The 20 pence. Hmm? Oh, according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 4 passengers that night at a fare of 5 pence each. That comes to a total of 20 pence exactly. But now it seems there were in fact 5 passengers, which means the figures don't seem to add up again. She's right. That is strange. Counsel for the defense, kindly proceed to the courtroom. The trial will recommence in 5 minutes. Oh, thank you, officer. We'll go in straight away. Well, whoever she is, I imagine this young girl will be asked to take the stand and testify now. I really can't imagine what she's going to say, but it could alter the whole direction of the trial. We'll know soon enough, Miss Susato.
Find out it's actually a child that did it.
I guess it wouldn't be the first time. 15-year-old gal.
Wasn't there also a 15-year-old girl in the last trial, too?
No,
She was either 15 or 16.
something around that age. Aye, it be me, the male person. Male lad. There's the young girl next to McGilded. Look. She must have been the one who caused the disturbance before. Well, after that rather eventful research, the court will now resume the trial of Mr. Magnus McGilded. Now then, Lord Van Jakes. My lord. I believe you had established the cause of the smoke which failed proceedings earlier. It seems to have been an advanced form of smoke grenade of the sort typically employed by the army. Good gracious, the army? What in the devil's name? It was an elaborate attempt by a young girl to cloak her escape from the public gallery, but she was caught, and now occupies the stand. Your name, girl? Are you responsible for the smoke grenade which induced such pandemonium here in my courtroom? What is the meaning of this deplorable behavior? If I may, my lord. Yes, Mr. McGilded. I think perhaps I ought to explain here why it is that this wee lass was here in the first place, and why she tried to bolt like that. It's all tied up with the events of that night, so it is. Very well, Mr. McGilded, give your testimony. We will explain to the court exactly how this young woman is involved in the case.
She killed him, and I couldn't let a young thing go to prison. And I don't want to go to prison either.
She doesn't even show up yet in the evidence. Just what did happen that night? It's not like a defense lawyer needs that information or anything.
No, the defense lawyer just needs to be competent, while everyone else can be incompetent.
On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. Then, begorra, a loud thunder and a wee scream woke me up with a fair start. There was a fellow collapsed on the floor at my feet, so I sat him up in the seat across from me, and I turned to find where that scream had come from, and bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away. Where was she hiding now, Mr. McGillicuddy? I'm somewhat baffled, I confess, but from what I could gather on the night in question, this young girl was seated when was indeed riding in the omnibus, is that correct? It is exactly as the defense counsel has said. This lass was the 5th passenger, my lord. Oh well. It's much now. Oh, I'm so tired. Are you ready, counsel? Yes, my lord. Or rather, no. I have no idea where to start. This is sus. Say she was hiding herself. Where? Aye, that's right. It was hard to see in the dim lamplight, but she was all curled up in a wee ball. When our eyes met, well, you hurt till you stopped beating my chest. You're really overacting this. No. Back. Still and all, I pulled her out from under there and set her on the seat opposite so I could have a wee chinwag with her next to the corpse. Next to the corpse. That's right, just next to the dead gentleman there. You've set this young girl next to a corpse, sir? Well, as I'm sure I mentioned, a gentleman in my position can all too often find himself in mortal danger. So, I needed to find out just who this urchin was, you see. And while I was in the middle of talking with her, I heard another scream, a fellow's voice this time. Presumably that scream was Mr. First, who was sitting in the roof deck seats. Right you are again, I would say, sir. Looking down through the skylight, he must have seen this young girl and a gentleman with a knife in his belly. In other words, the previous witness did not, in fact, see you at all, Mr. McHildred. What they believed to be yourself and the victim was, in fact, this girl and the late Mr. Mason. Aye, my lord. I was, as I think everyone understands now, sat at the back of the carriage, out of the seat. It is certainly plausible. The defendant is somewhat diminutive in stature, and readily confused perhaps with this young girl. And for the rest, of course... I like how we had to try and figure out, like, who people were based on their hats, but literally everybody in this trial, except for, like, Baron von Zeeks and maybe a juror or two, is wearing a hat. Everybody we've seen is wearing hats. I do wonder how you must be feeling, Mr. Naruto. being the defendant's lawyer and yet finding myself as stunned as everyone else at his testimony. Let's just say it's trying. We certainly had precious little time to talk to Mr. McGilded before the trial. We mustn't be dispirited. We must try to learn all the facts we can. When we arrived in London this morning, I didn't see my day panning out like this. Mr. Naruto, no grumbling, even in your head. Ugh, how did you know?
I can read minds.
And the night in question... Blah, 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 blah. Why? When you got first into the Omnibus, were there any other passengers already on board? There were not. The cabin was empty and there was no one on the roof deck either. You were the first passenger, as it were, I see. Aye, and that's why I took the back seat aside as I did. 'Tis the most comfortable, as so it is. Could you explain what exactly you mean by the back seat? By all means, 'tis how you already described it earlier. I'm talking about the seat opposite the one in which the poor gentleman who was stabbed was sitting. Like I said, 'tis the most comfortable and where I feel most at ease. And of course, I enjoy gazing through the skylight from time to time as well. Objection. The fuck. Bagora! A loud thud, you say? Actually, I said Bagora. Aye, that's right. How can I explain it? 'Twas like the sound of someone falling to the ground. That sort of noise. So you think it was the sound of Mr. Mason falling to the floor, having been stabbed? Well, now, you'll remember I was asleep at the time, so I wouldn't like to say. And when the sound woke me and I opened my eyes, there wasn't a soul to be seen in the carriage but the fellow on the floor. You didn't see anyone? But at the same moment, you did hear a scream? Ah, from the seats above you on the roof deck, I presume? Not above me, no, my lord. 'Twas from inside the cabin. But I wasn't altogether thinking about the scream. No, I was too stunned by the desperate sight before me eyes. Hold it! You set him up. The victim, you mean? Well, my feet were touching him, so he was on top of my feet, so I couldn't leave him there. Ow. Fuck.
What? Did you bite yourself?
No, I did not. It just started hurting. And the seat across from me, as I said, I could plainly see the poor devil was already gone. You wouldn't leave a dead man lying on the floor now, would you?
Yes.
Tis common courtesy, so it is. If I find that a little hard to believe. Lord Van Zix, now why would that be? You like to find the man lying dead at your feet in the carriage. Any normal person would hail the cabman. Any upstanding member of London society, that is. Well, now, as you know, I'm in something special line of business. Business of lending money at exorbitant rates of interest. Unfortunately, Martin Lord, not everyone is thankful for the help I offer them. Some would even see me dead. So I do try, where at all possible, to avoid getting myself in a tangle with trouble. How do you feel about lenders, I guess? How do you feel about lenders? Are they, like, on the scale from, like, upstanding citizens to, like, landlords and fucking banks? Like, where do lenders stand in this? Are we more on the opinion that they're scummy, or not so much? I don't really see as much discourse over that. Like, it's necessary to get loans in some case, but it's more, I don't know, it's a little bit victim blamey, but like, I hope that anybody that gets them into that situation, you know, it's not really the fault of the lender, I guess. And nowadays, we don't really have individual lenders, I guess. It's more like companies that do that. More like, so, I don't know. I don't know. They're not really, they're on the scale, I guess. licked my ganua. The tip of my ganua. My chick. Or, my cheek. Are you suggesting we were just going to leave the man there? Heavens no. Heavens alive, no! I was always intended to report it to where I was. Really, I had a mind to find out the whys and wherefores first. Whys and wherefores. Right, there's some details I wanted to understand before anyone else got to meddle in. That wee scream I heard, for example. Wouldn't your good self do the same? Yes. The scream he says he heard at the same time as the thud of the victim collapsing. Then I find out what... I'm afraid I don't understand. He said when I don't know what that means. I'm not familiar with that turn of phrase. I'm sure you told the court there was no one else in the carriage except yourself and the victim. So I did, sir, so I did. As far as I could see, that is. What do you mean by that? Well, now, 'tis a queer thing. The wee scream I heard was as I woke up. Came from, if you'll excuse the vulgar expression, under me backside. Gracious. Under your backside? And when I lifted the seat on which I'd been sitting, I found there was a wee cubbyhole in there for storage. Mr. Naruto, we can examine the... yeah, we got it. Yeah. We got it. We got it. That's when I found her. Thank you, I've heard enough. I still think you're guilty. The events examined are clear in my mind. However, at least one conundrum remains. Who is the girl?
And who was the second person?
Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. She's a chancer. Earns her crest among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. What's commonly called a pickpocket. This girl here, a petty thief. What'd you steal that night? Order! Order! Is this true, Mr. Lestrade? Mr. Lestrade, you will answer the question. Ah! A gun! Fucking bailiff! How dare you? What is the meaning of this? Ah! The girl, she's gone! Open your eyes. I'm over here.
I'm over here.
I'm over here. But gracious, how? What was the point in that little sidestep? I know what you lot are thinking. Grown-ups all the same. This still little dipper, you say, slipped up and got caught on the job. She got herself packed in a corner, so she knifed to get it. Go on, that's what's in your heads, ain't it? No, not at all. This is a court of law. We're here to determine the truth, not cast...
Gross.
That there is a stink bomb, is it? Look, knives are for cowards. Only thugs use weapons like that. All I need for what I do is his fingers and he's gone, I found. I want to learn how to do that. I actually found a tutorial video on how to roll a coin across your fingers. It seems simple enough, but I haven't been able to do it.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of dexterity in your knuckles in particular. I'm a professional, alright? Maybe not in your eyes, but I got some pride in what I do. I guess. You don't count smoke guns among weapons for thugs? Oh, this? Yeah, this was in a bag I lifted the other day, down where they keep the four-wheel drugs. What? Drag? Oh, what? What? Hold on, what? There's so much about those last three words that caught me by surprise. Four-wheeled drags? Like... cars? Four-wheeled cars? But... what?
I think it's supposed to be some
like
sort
a
of
taxi service? I don't know. Ain't it? I like the pink best. Ah, do not wave that thing in my direction again.
This is my third glass.
So, you admit that you are riding the omnibus and in that in question? It is alright, Les. You can tell him the truth now. Oh, yeah? It's just like the Irishman said. Court accepts this girl, Miss Gina Lestrade, as a valid and significant witness in this case. Accordingly, young lady, we'll now hear your testimony, if you please, and no more smoke grenade bombs thrown about. If you do, then I will kill you. Pop on the head.
We find out that there was a sixth person.
We will tell the court exactly what happened in the omnibus on the night in question. Alright, if I have to.